Hello, hello, Ideas Fun team. I'm just doing channeling my inner YouTuber and doing a really quick video about how you can record a local copy of your video and audio for when we do the webinar. And hopefully what that means is that we can potentially, when we edit it, actually use a higher resolution version of the video rather than depending on the one that is on Zoom, which can be a bit laggy or it can be lower resolution. In fact, it will be lower resolution. So this is kind of a fail-safe, and if you've got time, would be great. It doesn't take too much. Hopefully it's about setting up two different types of softwares. One, if you're a Mac, you can use Quicktime, and one called OBS, which you can also use as well if you're Windows or Linux. It isn't too difficult, but also I want to stress that if it doesn't work in the end, it's not the end of the world at all. I mean, it's a nice option for us to have to edit into the edited version that we'll share afterwards, and put that all together. But also, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we do have the Zoom version that we'll be recording as well. So the software that we're going to use is called OBS if you're on Windows. So let me just share it with the screen over here. Perfect. So there's OBS for Open Broadcaster software. You can actually use this if you are a Mac user as well. It's a software like this can also be quite good for like generating logos that you can see, all that type of stuff. I'm not using a different software, but you can use OBS for that type of thing. When you've downloaded it, you'll see something a wee bit like this. Now, the first thing to double check when you hopefully see this is whether this mic aux button is going up and down. And if it is, that's a good sign. That means it is recording your sound, and you can just speak to yourself and see if it does that. If not, I can work out I can tell you how to sort that out. The most important thing for this, we're going to be using the start recording function, and that will basically record the inputs that we give it. And so the first thing we need to do is give it an input, and you can see over here the sources. This is where we're going to add your camera. So if you press the plus sign, you've got lots of options, and we'll pick the video capture device. Give it a name. If you've got lots of cameras, you might want to be specific, but for now, let's just say this is webcam. So let's use the webcam. And then when you click OK, what it will let you do is it will let you pick your camera. Now, I've got lots of different cameras on my laptop at the moment. Let's say I was using the inbuilt Mac one, but you will have your inbuilt webcam should show up, hopefully. And then you'll preview it. You'll say OK. Now, this is the second most important thing. Now, this whole screen is the screen that it's going to be recording, and you can see there's lots of black in it. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to actually drag, and you can reposition yourself as well as to center it. Don't worry if it's cropping other bits out, as long as you're in it. That's the most important bit. And then just release, and then you've now got this. So hopefully you don't see any black, and that's going to be important because otherwise you're going to get a video with black lines in. I think. I haven't tried it. If the mic aux is working, that's great. If it's not working, or if you're using a separate mic, so you've got a separate mic, or you might be using headphones, something to put, you might even want to put in your headphones, and then what you can do is actually select a separate audio input device as well. And so you just go through the same process. You pick the headphones that you want to use, and press OK. But actually, I'm not going to do that because, and I'm going to take that away because if you have two, and you will end up doubling over your voice, which is not great. Whenever you're ready, hopefully this works, and I'm going to recommend obviously for you to try this beforehand, before the actual webinar, and even before another Zoom call, just to see how that works. It shouldn't interact with your broadband or your bandwidth, but it's good to check these things and make sure your laptop is dealing with the CPU okay, and like the stress of it. Start recording. So now it should be recording whatever is in the input. You can see I've turned off the audio input, so if it's grayed out, then that means it's not taking it in. But we've got this default mic, which is great, and the webcam as well. I'll stop recording, but what you'll probably want to do is either record at the very beginning when the webinar even starts, or if you want to have a smaller file, and that would be helpful, even maybe trying to think about this 5-10 minutes before you go on, would be good. But then again, that might be risky in terms of forgetting. So if it's just easier to, once the webinar starts, for you to record your screen, that's fine, and we can edit the video down. That's not a problem. It's better to do that. Once you've stopped recording, and again, you can probably do that after your section. You'll know which parts you finish. So again, just to keep that video short, but again, if it goes over, not a problem. You can then show the stop recording, and you can find the file here. So if you go to File, Show Recordings, it will come up with your where it stores it by default. You can probably see the file here. So I'll play that. So now it should be recording whatever is, and you can see it play. So and then you can send that to me using WeTransfer. Ideally, if you could do that by Friday daytime, that would be amazing, because I can pass that on to the videographer. Awesome. And again, no stress if it doesn't work. Don't worry. What we're going to do now is, if you are using a Mac, there's also a native QuickTime player which can also do this, so you don't need to download OBS. Maybe I should have started with that. So let me, I'll close OBS here, and I'll close all these files. It gets quite messy very quickly. I'll start QuickTime Player. For some reason, it always defaults with opening, but you can just cancel. But in the file section, you can click new recording, new movie recording specifically. Here, similarly, you can pick which camera you want to use. So you might have different ones. I can pick this one again. You can pick which microphone you want to use, so you've got the options. Again, what you want to double check is that this is going up and down, which means it's picking up the sound. Do not use this one because you get feedback. And then whenever you're ready, again, at the right point of the webinar, you can just press record. And it will record whatever's on your screen at the moment, which is really super easy. Press stop whenever you're finished, and you will then be able to, and it will record. Play that. Again, it might end up being a quite big file. Yeah, I wonder if you can trim it immediately. I don't know if you can actually. Yes, you can actually. So, I mean, if you feel like able to, you can trim it potentially. If it's a really big file, in Mac it's relatively easy. You can just cut. But if not, we can do that. Don't worry. You'll have to exit it, and it'll remind you to save. So let's give it a name. Yeah, replace that. That's fine. And then ready to send it to me, and you can send it via WeTransfer is probably best. So that's it. I'm going to definitely recommend you try doing that beforehand, probably with the Zoom call as well, just so you get used to or a Teams call or whatever it is, just so you get used to the idea of kind of setting this up on one, in the background almost, and then pressing record, and then obviously going onto your call and just, and then, doing your call, and then obviously stopping recording at some point, and just getting a sense of how that all works together. Again, if it doesn't work, it's not the biggest deal at all, but it's nice to, if we can, offer a slightly higher resolution and slightly higher quality edit. So yeah, any questions, of course, just give me a shout. I will see you very soon, I am sure.